Today we are going to be reviewing an old horror movie called The Beast of Yucca Flats. Released in 1961, this film quickly got its place among the worst movies ever made, getting the full MST3K treatment and everything. I've already reviewed Manos and Monster A Go-Go, so I don't know if there's anything left to surprise me, but let's find out. Let's get into The Beast of Yucca Flats. The movie begins with some woman who got out of the shower and is toweling herself off. That is one loud clock. Well, actually, the ticking happens neither once a second nor twice a second, so it's not a clock, whatever it is. Apparently somebody breaks in, but she only begins to react once he starts strangling her. He must not have done a very good job either, since her finger twitches a few seconds later. Ew. Well, that was a very disturbing scene, but obviously this will come into play later. The opening credits begin, and you should get to know the score. It has a very big presence in this movie. I still don't know what guest star is supposed to mean. This is a movie. And also, he plays the Beast of Yucca Flats. Can you really have a guest star playing your titular character? Somebody named Coleman Francis slapped his name all over this thing, so he must be very proud of it. Some guy from Russia goes to somewhere where they test A-bombs to do something. Much like Monster A Go-Go, this movie prefers to tell instead of show. There are also a few parts where the editor seems to have forgotten to put in words. He has something in a briefcase that these two assassins want, so they try to kill him and the other people that he's with. What a weird face to make when shooting somebody.
Oh man, did I leave the stove on?
Huh. The scientist looks like that one guy from Plan 9. Holy crap, it is that one guy from Plan 9! This is gonna be awesome!
Secret data. Pictures of the moon. Secret data. Never before outside the Kremlin.
Okay, this sounds less like a narration and more like freeform poetry. They start an exceptionally slow car chase, with close-ups that just look like people sitting in a stationary car that's being jumped on, and they eventually make it to the eponymous Yucca Flats. Yucca Flat is a real place in Nevada where nuclear tests were conducted for 40 years. In 1970, 9 years after this movie, a nuclear test went wrong, which resulted in the deaths of 2 people. Being a government facility, the filming did not take place there, and instead took place in California. However, until 1970, this movie did have the distinction of being the worst thing ever to have happened to Yucca Flat. The chase stops, and the scientist leisurely walks away with the briefcase. They're in the middle of the desert. Where is he going? Once again, the people talk, but we can't hear them. I guess what they're saying isn't very important. However, none of them counted on the fact that the nuclear testing facility was a nuclear testing facility. A nuclear bomb explodes, it's implied they all die, and the movie smash cuts away. I'm pretty sure that you shouldn't be able to accidentally drive that close to a nuclear test site anyway. Ever heard of a fence?
Vacation time. Man and wife. Unaware of scientific progress.
A narrator. Unnecessary. Pretentious. Anyway, the beast strangles the couple, and the movie makes sure we see that it has a burn on the back of his right hand. I'm sure that will come into play later as well. By the way, how did he get in the car without her noticing? The beast walks away with the woman's body, and we smash cut to the exact same place, but clearly much later since the beast is out of sight. Somebody comes across the scene and goes to get help. Did we really need to see that moment of hesitation? If he just got in the car, would you be confused? Would the movie be missing something? He drives away, and the score finds this really exciting for some reason. He tells somebody about the dead body, and they drive back to the scene of the crime. Okay, seriously, calm down. It's 2 people driving somewhere and getting out of their cars. This movie has an even more melodramatic score than Manos. The 2 inspect the scene and notice that there's a woman's purse left behind, which leads them to believe that there's another victim. Whoa. Obviously, something happened on the screen that I missed. Let's watch that again. Nope, nothing happened. The score just says ADHD. We finally get a good look at the beast that really isn't much of a beast. He doesn't seem to have super strength or any abilities above that of a human. We also meet our monster hunters, two cops named Jim and Joe, off to get the murderer.
Jim Archer, Joe's partner. Another man caught in a frantic race for the betterment of mankind. Progress.
Okay, this is somebody just reading slam poetry over a silent movie. Jim and Joe spot the beast up on a cliff and decide to climb up after. Once they reach the top, they find the woman from the car, still alive. But they carry her down the mountain only for this to happen.
And Joe, here, feel her pulse. Well, doctors can't help her. Maybe angels, but not doctors.
What does that mean? Does she not have a pulse now? She was breathing a minute ago. Does CPR just not exist? Next, we see a family of 4, and this is a good point to tell you something really interesting about this flick. It was filmed without sound, so all of the audio is looped in later. However, all of the dialogue is either narration or talking from characters that have their mouths covered, are off camera, are in the dark, or are far away. In other words, the filmmakers couldn't even be bothered to dub the audio properly. Even Manos tried to do that. I would call this dubbing the worst thing about the Beast of Yucca Flats, simply because that is an impressive amount of not caring about your product.
Mom, we saw some real pigs.
Whoa, real life pigs? Are you sure it wasn't a hoax?
Don't you be
And a coyote.
coyote?
Yeah.
Don't you be playing with coyotes.
I mean, you could just watch your children, but parents that watch their kids are like cell phones that work. If they were actually there, every horror movie would be done within 5 minutes. Anyway, back to Jim and Joe.
Jim and Joe try to make their way up to the plateau. To reach the top, a man needs an airplane.
If they need a plane, why are they trying to climb? And why won't the music shut up? Wait a minute. I feel like I've seen this somewhere before. Oh, I know, that ghost car zombie jump scare commercial. The path of the road is the same, and even the terrain is pretty close. Here, let me put the commercial in black and white so we can compare. It looks like the same road at different angles, but the one in the commercial was all green, and this takes place in the desert. There can't be a connection. Could there? I looked it up, and I can't find any behind-the-scenes info about that commercial. If anybody knows something about this, get back to me. Send it to poll on 4chan, they can find anything. Anyway, the two continue
But
their
the
search.
killers, not on the plateau.
Okay, they really didn't see that, or at the very least hear that. Really. Afterwards, they conclude that they have searched the entire desert, and we know how thorough they are, and the only place this killer could possibly be is on the top of a plateau that's impossible to get on top of without a plane.
Jim Archer's paratrooper
Naturally.
to good use
Oh, and there's this.
is the only.
Jim, shoot first. Ask questions later.
The local police. Shoot first, ask questions later. What could possibly go wrong? Anyway, a tire on the family's car pops, even though I can't see anything on the road, and they have to pull over. The kids wander off, and the parents of the year lose them again. With their mouths safely covered, they discuss strategy, and the dad goes off to look for them.
I can't find.
Art? Randy!
Alright, is everybody in this movie just deaf? This is getting ridiculous. I guess the Yucca Flats does have a fence after all. Wait, if the sign is facing that way, then he came from inside the facility. How did... Okay, you know what? Never mind. Anyway, the cop on the plane spots the dad and starts shooting. Thus begins nearly 10 minutes of filler. It just keeps going. It's just the dad running and the guy in the plane sniping. After so much time, he finally hits his mark. This is a pretty good example of why shoot first, ask questions later isn't the best strategy. By the way, we sure haven't seen that much of the Beast of Yucca Flats in the Beast of Yucca Flats.
The pilot dropped his man. If Joe Dobson moves north, Hank will be caught in the middle. An innocent victim caught in the wheels of justice.
If that's how you interpreted what just happened, the problem is with you, buddy. After the dad gets shot, he walks away, giving no indication of having just been shot.
20 hours without rest and still no enemy.
20 hours of daylight, apparently. The dad finds his wife and decides to leave her behind and drive away to get help, since the kids might come back. Infallible logic, to be sure. Speaking of the boys, they're spotted by the beast who tries to attack them. Worst beast ever. The kids decide to walk into a cave, which is a terrible idea because they will be instantly trapped if they got caught. But hey, they're kids. What I really want to know is who thought it was okay to have an almost completely blacked out shot? Oh, it's so that there can be a reveal of the beast behind them, right? Oh, I guess not.
Art, get back.
Alright, this is the third time. It's official. Everybody in this movie is deaf. I suppose the actor only really felt the role on about a third of the screams. About as much effort as was put in the rest of the movie, I guess.
The beast, finding his victim gone, unleashes his fury.
Hell hath no fury, like whatever the opposite of that is. Jeesh. The beast decides to take a nap because reasons, and the kids decide to try to talk and step over him almost immediately because reasons. The dad gets back to the mom with some help just so that they can leave her alone again. I'm starting to think he just wants her to die. Anyway, the kids make their escape. This is our monster, ladies and gentlemen, outmatched by two stupid children. Jim and Joe spot the beast chasing the kids and join the fight as we continue with the theme of bullet wounds that just don't exist. Okay, that is some impressively bad acting. Now I'm starting to get why all of the cinematography is built around not looking at the actors' faces. After the worst fight scene ever, the beast has been slain. The day is saved and everybody is okay. That was the Beast of Yucca Flats. I have to say that— Wait a minute! What was the deal with that opening scene? If you look at the shirt, it clearly is the beast that killed the woman, but there's no time in which this could have happened. The beast was in the desert the whole time. And even if the woman did live in the middle of the desert, you'd think that her house would be the first one that the dad would have found, but it wasn't. But it's definitely him. They even— Wait a minute. He doesn't have the scar here! They made a big show of displaying the scar on the back of the beast's right hand, but we can clearly see that it isn't there in the opening scene. I'm at a loss for words. Everything about this opening kill was deliberately created to make no sense. Overall, this is one of the most pathetic attempts of a movie I have ever seen. There was so little effort put into this project that I honestly wonder why anybody bothered. This movie is not enjoyably bad like Manos, and it doesn't even have the distinction of being frustratingly bad like Monster A Go-Go. This was just a chore to get through. It wouldn't end, and it's not even an hour long. Anyway, I'm getting a full-time job this summer, so expect sparse uploads. Until then, I'll see you later.